Krsna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda.
Hare Krishna, we're reading Bhagavad-gita. Welcome to our channel. Bhagavad-gita, here it is, because we have Bhagavad-gita as it is, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And my name is Bhagavad-gita. We are in the 4th chapter. We are reading about transcendental knowledge. We're speaking about yagya, different yagyas. There are like different levels, different types, motivations, developmental stages in spiritual life. They are kind of different, but they're also brought together because they have the same goal, really, the goal of giving us what we need, and at the same time giving us the ability to move forward with our spiritual life. I'm reading text 27. Sarvanindriya karmani parana karmani chapare atma sanyama yoga gno yuvati jnana dipite. Yeah. That's the English one. Sorry about that. Others who are interested in achieving self-realization through control of the mind and senses offer the functions of all the senses and of the life breath as oblations into the fire of the controlled mind. So again, we're with this terminology and language that feels maybe a little bit foreign, but we are describing different steps of development in spiritual life, so we need a different terminology. And yes, this is how Bhagavad-gita, Krishna, choose to do it, so we try to follow and we try to understand. Purport: the yoga system conceived by Patanjali is referred to herein. In the Yoga Sutra of Patanjali, the soul is called Pratyag Atma and Parag Atma. As long as the soul is attached to sense enjoyment, it is called Parag Atma, but as soon as the same soul becomes detached from such sense enjoyment, it is called Pratyag Atma. The soul is subjected to the functions of 10 kinds of air at work within the body, and this is perceived through the breathing system. The Patanjali system of yoga instructs one on how to control the functions of the body's air in a technical manner, so that ultimately all the functions of the air within become favorable for purifying the soul of material attachment. Yes, so this part of the yoga system is even more foreign than the previous ones, because giving material things in order to achieve something that we practically do in our daily life on some level, developing knowledge in order to give up these desires, that we can kind of see that happening too. Like for students, they have to focus to get the knowledge to get where they want to go. Even athletes have to decide from their knowledge that in order to achieve a certain level, I'm going to have to give up other things. They spend a lot of time exercising and training. They maybe have to focus on how they eat, how they think. When I was young, sports were kind of a very bodily thing, and nowadays you listen to the radio and they have someone come up and they're saying, so how are things? And they sound practically like academics about their progress and the different levels and the different aspects of their sport. They're impressive in a totally new way, because this knowledge will bring them to the result that they want, and a jnani will use that knowledge to detach from, or to differentiate between the material external and the spiritual. A yogi they're all kinds called yogis in a sense according to the system, but the yoga we understand as yoga is not just a physical exercise. And the pranayama, the breathing exercises, they are not just meant to make us feel a little calmer. It's a very technical thing that we don't really, people in general, I mean, I'm not even very familiar with this, but it's very specific. The soul is resting inside this body, and the life air in the Vedic sense doesn't just mean, some oxygen that we breathe, but it actually means movement. The air is moving things, and within the body the air is moving. The soul and the different other functions of the body are moved by the air. So this may not be very practical. We cannot read this little segment of the Bhagavad-gita and think that we know how to perform this kind of yoga. It needs to be taught more in detail, because it's very technical and it's very detailed. But here we get the sense of it. According to this yoga system, Pratyag Atma is the ultimate goal. This Pratyag Atma is withdrawn from activities in matter. The senses interact with the sense object, like the hand for touching, and all of them are thus engaged in activities outside the self. They are called the functions of the Pranavayu. The Aparavayu goes downwards. Vyanavayu acts to shrink and expand. Samanavayu adjusts equilibrium. Udanavayu goes upwards. And when one is enlightened, one engages all these in searching for self-realization. Wow. I can't even comment on this so much because I don't know this. I know it is there. I have friends who practice some form of yoga, and the exercises, that's one part. The breathing is one part. But this, how to actually technically work on the situation for the soul so that it will be purified from the material attachment, this is very difficult work. This may take lifetimes. And therefore, one part of this that I thought I just read, it's coming in a couple of verses ahead here, but I can just mention it, that controlling the breathing in this sense means the life is prolonged, because this body, when it's born, we can of course die from an accident or from a disease, but the body in and of itself, it will live for so many breaths. So if we are able to slow down our breathing, we can live longer. And if we want to perform this type of yoga, we need a long life, because otherwise we won't be able to finish it. This little text here describing in a very general sense these all different airs, we can't really use it to start practicing this kind of yoga, but it gives us an idea of how technical it is, and how it is quite difficult. And also for this age, it's not really recommended. I will read one more text. Dravya yagyas tapo yagya, yoga yagyas tatapare, svadhyaya jnana yagyascha yataya sangshita vrataha. Having accepted strict vows, some become enlightened by sacrificing their possessions, others by performing severe austerities, some by practicing the yoga of eightfold mysticism, or by studying the Vedas to advance in transcendental knowledge. Purport. These sacrifices may be fitted into various divisions. There are persons who are sacrificing their possessions in the form of various kinds of charities. In India, the rich mercantile community or princely order open various kinds of charitable institutions like Dharmashalas, Anakshetra, Atitishala, Anathalaya and Vidyapita. Some of these words I don't know, but some of them are meant for like guest houses or food distribution to the yogis or to the poor people, or in some way giving of charity. In other countries too, there are many hospitals, old age homes, and similar charitable foundations meant for distributing food, education, and medical treatment free to the poor. All these charitable activities are called Dravyamaya Yagya. There are others who, for higher elevation in life or for promotion to higher planets within the universe, voluntarily accept many kinds of austerities such as Chandrayana and Chaturmasya. These processes entail severe vows for conducting life under certain rigid rules. For example, under the Chaturmasya vow, the candidate does not shave for 4 months during the year, July to October. He does not eat certain foods, does not eat twice in a day, or does not leave home. Such sacrifice of the comforts of life is called Tapamaya Yagya. There are still others who engage themselves in different kinds of mystic yoga, like the Patanjali system, for merging into the existence of the Absolute, or Hatha Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga for particular perfections, and some travel to all the sanctified places of pilgrimage. All these practices are called Yoga Yagya, sacrifice for a certain type of perfection in the material world. There are others who engage themselves in the studies of different Vedic literatures, specifically the Upanishads and Vedanta Sutras, or the Sankhya philosophy. All of these are called Svadhyaya Yagya, or engagement in the sacrifice of studies. All these yogis are faithfully engaged in different types of sacrifice and are seeking a higher status of life. Krishna consciousness, however, is different from these, because it is the direct service of the Supreme Lord. Krishna consciousness cannot be attained by any one of the above-mentioned types of sacrifice, but can be attained only by the mercy of the Lord and his bona fide devotees. Therefore, Krishna consciousness is transcendental. So we get to that point, because that is kind of the real point. But Arjuna is given this knowledge because this knowledge is there in society, and Krishna is not simplistic. The devotees are not simplistic. We can be very simple. We can turn to Krishna and say, I'm your servant, please allow me to serve you. But we also have to know what's going on, and we have to understand the perspective from all these other processes, how they are going towards the highest goal, but also how the highest goal is separate from these paths. And that's Krishna consciousness. And I want to go through the whole Bhagavad-gita. I want to read everything, but I'm also aware that I don't have that deep knowledge in all these different yogic paths. But I also don't have to, because Krishna comes to that conclusion as well. The goal is to take up to bhakti yoga, whether we follow the other processes or not. And especially in this age, these other processes are very difficult to follow, and they also don't necessarily guarantee success in the same way that taking shelter of Krishna and starting to perform Krishna consciousness under the shelter of a spiritual master, that actually gives a certain guarantee. We have to do it. We have to ask for Krishna's mercy. But if we do that, Krishna actually promises the ability to actually achieve the success of the human form of life. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for watching. We aim for updates every Tuesday and Friday. Please come back. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down there. We also have some links and information for you. And there is, of course, the subscribe button. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
I'm a Hare Krishna, and I approve this message. Subscribe.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.